Hey everybody. I've got us an update on the TAR agreements and disclosures that are going live today. So this is very important for you as agents to understand that there's been a couple changes. I want to focus on the listing agreement and I want to focus on the seller's disclosure. These changes have gone live. It is June 15th of me recording this. These are live today. So let's start with the most important, in my opinion, the most important one, which is with the seller's disclosure. Okay. There are two seller's disclosures we can use. There's the TAR one, and that is, let me look at this right here, the TAR one, and then there's a TREC one. Okay. So the TAR seller's disclosure that's live today, here's the rule. If you're using this and you're not under contract as of today, you need to go to your client June 15th and have them refill out this document. Okay. It'd probably be good also to do the new TREC one. If you're doing that, that'll be due July 1st. That's going to change over to the new one. So if you're not under contract, if you're under contract right now, we're okay. But if you're under contract after today or not under contract as of right now, you need to be going to the client with the new disclosure, the new TAR seller's disclosure, and asking them to complete it again. And that will be in our files already, ready for them to utilize. Okay. Let's start with that. Let's look at that disclosure and have some fun. Okay. So the changes on here, there are quite a few, okay? And as you're looking through this document, you're going to see a few changes. They're highlighted in green. I made some clarity items there. Other than oak wilt, there's other tree illnesses that you can have. There's a new focus on private roads with the property where your buyer will be financially responsible for maintaining. That's probably going to be most likely like something out in the hill country you're going to be dealing with if you have like an easement that's shared for a community access to a subdivision where your client's responsible for maintaining it. Maybe there's an easement that they have to take care of to access another property behind theirs and it's their responsibility to maintain it. It could be several things. Just be aware that if you're dealing with an easement, that a road and access they're responsible for, you need to deal with that. Concrete cancer, I'm not going to get into a whole discussion on it. You can look that up on your own. I don't see that very often here. Subsurface pits and structures. This is dealing with a lot with properties that might have like buried propane tanks, things like that. So people don't run over the propane tank and cause a leak and a gas leak or something like that. Be aware of that in conservation easements. Okay. Now, one of the biggest changes on here is how they're dealing with insurance. There's a larger, it's not just a checkbox anymore. They're wanting a lot more information about your insurance situation. So the property is presently covered by insurance. Yes. It doesn't just say any, it doesn't specify. It says, is it insured? And there's several types of insurance that could cover. Presently covered by flood insurance. Yes or no? Doesn't say does it need it. Is it covered by it? There's places out in the hill country where people keep flood insurance on their property even though they're not in a floodplain. I just dealt with one this week. You, the seller, have been unable to insure the property for any reason. And this is where I'd say clients, if you've gone out and you've tried to get some kind of insurance for that and they said they won't cover it, you probably should tell the truth as what this question's asking you and detail it. Even if you were for future able to get a disclosure, get insurance taken care of, you probably want to disclose that if you were unable to get insurance at some point, okay? I would definitely want to clarify that. Okay, now, let's go on the next. Filed a claim for any damage to the property with any insurance, okay? Have you filed any claims ever for any type, guys? Now they want to know if there's been a claim filed. Yes, no, and explain. If your client tried to get some roof work done on it, that's an insurance claim. If they denied it, that's great, but it doesn't matter if they accepted the claim or not. You need to disclose it. Have they ever filed one? Have you received proceeds for a claim, an insurance claim, settlement, or award in a legal proceeding that you didn't use the money towards fixing the problem? Like if you had a damage to the home and you didn't repair that damage, like the roof, but you got money for that through a claim, you got to disclose that. That's already how it's been, but now they're making a section about it and they're expanding it to go into legal proceedings or settlements too. So be aware of that. Present flood insurance, that's already covered. They took some stuff out. They clarified the HOA stuff. They moved it down, expanded it a little bit. Any common areas that you need to deal with, common areas, co-owned and undivided interest with others. You'll see that also in the hill country. There could be like the HOA has like certain amenities and such that are co-owned. You'll see stuff like that. Are there optional user fees for common facilities charge? Yes, no. Not common, but you could see that. Now, here's probably the biggest change, in my opinion, is they've expanded it from providing, asking in the TAR seller's disclosure. They've expanded it from written inspection reports to now evaluations of the property prepared by persons who regularly provide such inspections or evaluations, who are licensed, certified, or otherwise legally authorized to perform those inspections. Okay, who could be someone that's certified or licensed that could be providing evaluations of a property? HVAC specialists would be a great example of that. If you got an HVAC specialist that's just going into a property, looks at it, gives some opinions to a client, an evaluation. Okay, guys, they're wanting that to be disclosed in the last 4 years. So be aware of that. That's good protection for us as the brokerage, because they're certifying that there's no information received from anyone in the last 4 years in writing. But just be aware of that for their sake. And I would remind them, guys, evaluations, think about, I'd say, guys, jog your memory back. Did you talk to an HVAC specialist that went out to the property and looked at it? Did they give you anything in writing? Remember that. That's big. And we need to be attentive to that, and probably reminding our clients about to kind of jog their memories about those areas and asking them questions about that a little bit. They added this notice in here too, which is already under Texas law. You're required to disclose all known material, facts, defects needed, repairs, adverse conditions. Failure to disclose material information about the property may result in a legal liability. Well, that's the crux, is the honesty of the thing we've always said, which is your honesty is your shield. All right, I think that's a pretty good look, a very quick look at the seller's disclosure. Remember, you need to update your seller's disclosure. If you are not under contract as of today and you're using a TAR, seller's disclosure, you need to go to the client, you need to get that updated. That's important. So I'm going to post about that. I'm going to have Alex send a message out about this, guys, but just wanted to let you know. Okay, let's go to the next document. Let's look at our listing agreement here. So the listing agreement's changes aren't as fundamental. It's more of it's more of a change to the commission section in an area that, at least in San Antonio, I think up in New Braunfels area and such, they utilized a lot more. They pre-secured the commission for the buyer's agent in the listing agreement. While here in San Antonio, we kind of, I think the norm has been what is now A, but was B, which is we negotiated strictly the commission for our side. This is now eliminated. Pre-negotiating the commission for the other side through A, that option is not a part of the listing agreement anymore. Okay, we do not have to go back. If it's a signed listing agreement, we don't have to update our listing agreement, but any new listing agreements as of today and onward need to be using this form. This does not change the language that we are requiring by policy to be included in special provisions of our listing agreements. I cannot stress that enough. That cannot be altered without explicit consent from management. As far as other changes, and so what that does, that language in special provisions, you go look at it, it says that unrepresented buyer comes into the picture, we're negotiating, the commission escalates to 6%. That's not fair. Talk with us if you need an alter, if you're wanting to talk about that. Our door is open to talk about it, but that's how it is in writing. Same with intermediary. Intermediary arises, that situation arises. We must get that taken care of, okay? At 6%. We are not negotiating against ourselves. We're pre-securing that so we don't negotiate against ourselves and end up in an awkward scenario. That's not something I'm looking to alter. So remember that, guys. This is a part of our policies and procedures, is that language baked into the listing agreement. As far as other areas, they talk a little bit about clarity about intermediary in here. I'm trying to think of anything that's going to be something I really want to cover. Groundwater's rights. So, okay, remember, guys, as we'll talk about this in the TREC section when I give our update, seller's disclosure about groundwater and surface rights is now baked into the contract moving forward after July 1st and can be used now, but I don't think it's available yet quite in the tools, or I don't think that's available in the library yet for TREC. I have to check that, but that groundwater disclosure we're going to be talking about in a separate video. Be aware of it. All right, and I think that's it. So be aware of these things, guys. Be aware of the timelines. You need to be getting that your seller's disclosure is updated. The TREC seller's disclosure does not have that 4-year look back as far as evaluations. I would take that into consideration. You can find that in our library also, but that one's changing July 1st. So if you're using the TREC one right now, you have a few more days, but if you're not under contract as of July 1st, you need to get that changed and updated to the latest seller's disclosure. Okay. All right, guys, good stuff. If you have any more questions, let us know. I just want to give a quick update to you guys, and I'll get a text out.